Okie dokie. So I will wind down the relaxing music and we can wind up a new conversation. Welcome back to the Digital Bodhisattva Clubhouse. Today we have a International Women's Day special featuring one of my INEB colleagues, Opor Srisuan, I hope I pronounced that correctly, and the founder of the Saya Foundation, Myanmar, Tin Mama Tet. Again, I hope I pronounced that correctly. But the reason we are hosting this event on the auspicious day of International Women's Day is because INEB has been closely involved in issues of women's empowerment and supporting projects across Southeast Asia to do just that, to empower women in many different ways. And Opor is the project coordinator that we have called the Female Sangha Initiative. And Tess and her foundation were the beneficiaries of a grant that supported their work recently in the past couple of months. And so we decided to host an event to showcase that information and let people know, and also be able to provide an opportunity for a kind of group conversation where you can ask questions to all three of us, but most likely the two powerful women here. So the idea is to really just learn something new, relax on a Tuesday evening, and celebrate International Women's Day with some new information. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Opor, who can give you all a little bit more of an insight into what the Female Sangha Initiative was, or still is, in fact, and how they supported the Saya Foundation. So I'll hand it over to you, Opor. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. So every day should be in International Women's Days. Yeah, I hope. So Dexter mentioned that today is the International Women's Days, and it's a global day of celebrating the social, economic, cultural, and political achievement of women. Yeah, this day also call for an actions of the women equality. And this year, campaign theme is like break the bias. So we live in a world that we have to say that it's not yet equal, but by being here, starting from here now, and then expanding to more like in the larger scale, I believe that one day we will achieve what we dream for of the gender equalities. So now about the Female Sangha Initiative for Social Transformation in Southeast Asia, which I from now on will be calling this in short Female Sangha Initiative. It started last year, and that was my first year at INEB too. I didn't know much about Female Sangha Initiative, but through that process I learned. So this project was actually funded by Joy Together Society, JTS Korea. Yeah, and this Female Sangha Initiative is, the project itself aims to empower Buddhist women to be more actively included in social, cultural, and environmental activities. So there were 9 selected projects, and which are in the 4 countries: Bangladesh, Indonesia, Myanmar, and Thailand. So at the end of the year, throughout the diverse activities and the diverse project itself, they reach out, our project partner reached out to 2,929 people, like indirect benefit, and perhaps also impact another 100,000 more. So this is why it is important to start from here, from now, and then we expand to the larger scale. And so it wasn't easy, but the COVID, at least the it's a pandemic and it's always disrupt the schedule and the process. But through this, guiding with the compassion and understanding really help. And at the end of the project, when I look back how we start the project at the beginning of the year, I love to thank all those who work really hard. I cannot mention all the name, but yes, I appreciate all the support and the hard work that you did. And Saya Foundation came in at the last minute. We actually reached out and asked if they want to send in the applications. And Saya Foundation, led by Ted, did it so well. That's why we are here to learn from her, which throughout the process of last year, I learned a lot. And I believe that there's a more thing to learn from Ted. So I will be handed over to Tin Mama Ted from Saya Foundations, and we can have the questions and open discussion of how the female Sangha initiative contribute to this gender equalities later. It can be in the conversation form, so then I don't feel so lonely talking alone. Okay.
Okay, great. Thanks, Dexter, and thanks, Opor, and thanks everyone who are coming to listen to our conversation here. Welcome, everyone. As Opor and Dexter said, I am Dimama Tet Komites, and I am currently leading Saya Foundation, which is an organization, education organization working for Myanmar children and teachers and people in general. So we have a lot of programs for children, teachers, parents, and community members. So we have online classes, we run community education programs, we design curriculums, develop materials, and also do all sort of programs for the teachers. And this female Sangha program, we selected the nuns, the Buddhist nuns from Myanmar, who are working with children and leading education program across Myanmar. And then we were really privileged to be able to work with INEB and JDS to support their women in Myanmar. Yeah, so the reason why we really wanted to do this project and also continue to support women in Myanmar and women in general is very much aligned with the hashtag and hashtag break the bias from Yuan and this year's slogan, right? So whenever I think about the women, or whenever many people think about women, there are a lot of bias. Bias can be those prejudice towards women, like women are weak, or like some people even think that women are second-class citizen whatsoever. So there are a lot of bias toward women, and like toward women, by women, and by others, right? Sometimes whenever we think about bias, it is usually think like people, it's about other people thinking toward women, but it's also women toward women, like ourselves. We also sometimes think that, or maybe it's true that we are weak, whatever. So these kind of bias are always around us, and those are interpreted into our culture, into our structure, into our education system, and even in our religious practices. So in order for us to break the bias of people and of ourselves having toward women, we really need to educate women and people around us. So those are the reason why, to break the bias, we really wanted to have programs for the women and people around us. And yeah, that's pretty much the reason why we started the program for nuns. Nuns were not recognized for their efforts, and their voice are not being heard. And yeah, we needed to empower them to raise their status, to let them voice out more, to even see their own talents, and to let them know that they are strong enough to do these things. Yeah, and I'm very glad to be able to work with Opor throughout the project. I learned so much, and also we were really supported with the technical insights, and also just simply by being there for us whenever we need anything. Thanks, Opor.
You're welcome. So can we ask question now, Dexter?
I think we
Absolutely, yes.
can.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I was like, this is my perhaps this is my own questions to 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 Ted, and I don't know how she did it. The situation in Myanmar isn't like very accommodating still, and still
Mm.
not. How did you manage at at a woman, at a mom, at the founders, and running all this project, and you still have time to empower others? And when I wrote when I read your report, I was like, where does women have all the energy from? And you mentioned that it's rewarding, and I wonder what was the wow moment when you see that, oh, all of that have rewarded.
Yeah. I don't know where it all come from. Yeah, so many things that right now that I'm doing, like being a mom of a baby who is 15 months old now, and working full time, and also doing all sort of stuff. I think like just before this conversation, like I said, it's very challenging, yet it's very rewarding. So those things that I think like challenging, as in like, oh, too many things to do, but then like when you really see the results of what you are doing, then it's also motivating and it feels rewarding. So whenever I work with people on the ground, like teachers and the nuns and whoever, like when they learn something, when they have realized something, or when they have implemented something because of they learn or of they change, it just gives me motivation to go forward. And it's the same for motherhood. Whenever I see my baby laughing, or whenever I see him like growing up as a healthy boy, then like it gives me a lot of energy. So I have to say, well, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a mom. It just like whenever you see the people and things, you just feel, when you can feel like you can do it, you can do it. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but like, yeah, that's what I feel. When I feel that I can do it, I really can do it. And then like I can multitask, I can do cooking, I can do babysitting, I can do training and everything. It's just important that we believe in ourselves and we have a support system. So I have a very supportive family, I have to say, and the colleagues that I'm working with are also very supportive and very accommodating to my situation as a mother. And also people that I'm working with are very passionate to what they are doing as well. So like believing in myself, having a very strong support system really helped me to do things that I am doing right now.
Yeah, yeah, we can do this alone, right? And so I I listened to the interview from Jesuma Tenzin Pramo.
Mm,
She mentioned that if you go to the nunnery and ask what's the main obstacles, um, so they will answer the low self-esteem and the lack of confidence. So
mm.
have you encountered this during your work, or because you actually the Saya Foundation is working to empower the nun through education. So yeah, let's bring it up, and then So we can learn how to do it, because from the report you sent, it is only from the written form. So I was reading it and smiling at the same time, like, yes, it's it's amazing how you done it. So can you walk us through that journey, how you did it, and how the Saya Foundation empowered the nun through the education?
Yeah. So the program involved training, mentoring, and also supporting them with their resources and whatever. But then, like what I have learned from the participants from our program in the beginning, I think in the report even we said like some of them really wanted to be a monk before the program. They wanted to be a monk because they think monks can do better and even more than nuns, and monks' works and activities are more recognized in the society than what the nuns are doing. And also the voice of monks are being heard while the nuns are not. So they really wanted to be a monk before, but then like in throughout the program, what we are saying is that whether it's a man or is a woman, they are all human being, right? People in general, human being in general are very talented, and they have their own personal, talents, and they have their own ways of doing things. It's not just that women or non specifically are weaker than monk or men. Then like we really highlight the points that we are all human being, and then like we are capable, but then we are also we find out their gaps that they are having in the society. For example, if they think they are lacking confidence, not only because of they are women, but also because their level of knowledge and skill, then we try to help them, support them with the trainings, so that they can be confident, they confident on their own skills and knowledge. So we did the trainings on how the Buddha's teaching strategies. We did the training on critical thinking. We did the training on reading strategies. We did the trainings on dialogue strategies and some other skills that and digital literacy, some other skills that they need to know as human being in general, not as a nun or as a woman. So after they have learned about all these skills, they have more confidence and they have more exposure in talking about their traumas and their experience. So and they have what whenever they talk about their traumas and their experience, they also learn from each other, that they learn that, oh, there is a support system, the support system that we are having even within the female Sangha network. So there are different experience and there are different solution to those difficulties and challenges that they are having. So they learn from each other, they learn from their training, they learn and inspire from one another, and they have this confidence after getting the trainings. And through this journey, they have grown so much. And it's the same for us as trainers and organizer. By looking at them, by listening to their stories, we also grow with them. So yeah, this is how we did, and it's really amazing to listen to all these stories of the nuns. So those nuns who said they wanted to be monks in the beginning of the training said like, oh, and right now we really realize that we really don't need to be monks to be able to make impact in our society. You can just be woman, you can just be a female singer, and then if you are competent enough to do things, of course you can do a lot of things and you can still make a lot of difference. And we even included a training program organized by the nuns for the children, and then like they have to teach live on Zoom with the children, which they have never done before. So, and like they have improved so much of their confidence in teaching and interacting with the people, and since we did a lot of trainings and programs online, and there is a lot of visibility to the public as well. So a lot of positive comments that the nuns received during the program, and that also motivated them to keep going. So even just recently, yesterday, we had a conversation, a live panel discussion on our blog, and then they openly talking about their struggles, their challenges, their experience, and all this thing. And then and then people are really listening to them and then understanding more about their challenges. So when the people know about these things, these prejudice that they have had toward the nuns and what the nuns have gone through throughout their lifetime, they started to sympathize more and show more of their compassion and understanding toward nuns. So I think whenever we are talking about empowering women or like empowering nuns, it's not enough that we are just doing trainings or empowering to those target audience like women and nun. We also need to educate and empower the public, because the program can be short. After the programs, they will have to go back to the society and the community. If the community and society will have those bias still, like it might still be challenging for the nuns. So when the nuns are empowered, the public need to be empowered as well. We need to do it parallel, and we're trying to do this as much as we can. It's taking time, poor, but we're slowly going there.
Thank you. Dexter, is there specific questions that you'd like to ask us? So what Ted was just saying is yeah, I can see. I think you're probably smiling and speak at the same time, and underline that you were saying about we have to educate the public in parallel. So yeah, and it takes time, but you make it sound so easy. I know that you know project can last 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, but to empower one person, for example, for me to be speaking here, it took me years, maybe my whole life. But how did you do it? Share with us the trick that you use, and so and so we all can achieve that gender equality, and especially in these structures where it's mostly when the scholars or books is written by men and talk about a woman role in Buddhism and things. So yeah, tell us your trick, and then we can use that to expand.
Actually, there is no one size fits all or solution or bore. So yes, and I don't think I use tricks. It just based on our and common understanding on what's going on in the situation. So I think whenever we do projects or women empowerment or activities for female sangats in Myanmar or in wherever, I think there are special ingredients that we really need to add, so that the is like a meal, like you're cooking something. There are special ingredients that we really need to think about it. For example, maybe it's like salts that you really need it, but the thing is like amount of salt that you add into that meal or that curry depend on the people who will be eating it. Maybe if somebody is having diabetes, maybe you will have to add very little salt or even no salt. Or if somebody is vegetarian, then maybe you will need to remove the meat from the meal and then might just cook with the vegetable. So it's like cooking in the kitchen. Maybe I'm really into cooking, so I'm giving this example. so whenever we are designing a program, it's really important to know who really is eating this food, right? So if you are doing this program for the female Sangha in Myanmar, and specifically from the maybe middle Myanmar, or specifically from Shan State or whatever, depending on the people that we are working with, we need to design our program. So as first, you really need to know the audience, what their backgrounds are, what their situations are, and what they are going through. That only then we can design a training program that is relevant to their needs as well. Oh, so we can't just talk like when we are talking about female Sangha, we can't just bluntly talk about, we need equality, gender equality in Buddhism, and we need to be regarded the same, the same status as monk and now whatever. So we can't be so direct, and because of it's also they are not from this culture and they're not used to it. So it's really difficult to just say one strategy will fit to all the community or in all programs. So the first thing, like I said before, is to know about the audience and the people that we are working with. The second thing is to know about their background and the situation that they are in, the society that they are in. Because Myanmar has been closed for so many years, it stays closed. So there are so many things happening, like in culture. There are so many cultural violence. There are structural violence. There are direct violence. All these conflicts and violence and abuses, they have been there, and so people are already biased in, I mean, unconsciously. So they are not consciously discriminating women. Sometimes it just unconsciously discriminating because they just think it is right to do that, right? So when we know the situation or the society more, then it also help us to design, okay, how can we approach the people in the society so that we can help our partners in our programs. In our training program, what we think of was just focusing on Buddhism. For example, like we wanted to help the nuns to use more critical thinkings in their work, to use more creative thinking in their teachings, to use no corporal punishments to their children's, etc. And we can't just say like, okay, nuns, please don't beat the children anymore, or please use more critical thinking question in your classrooms, or just be like try to be more confident in the society. We can't just say that. So what we thought of was using Buddha as an example, who they feel so inspired to as well. So we started off with the training called Buddha's Approach to Teachings, where we explore a lot of teaching strategies, that Buddha used, including use of critical thinking skills, experiential learning methods, and dialogue strategy. So after they have really accepted that it is really necessary to use these strategies, and then we started to tell them like this is how you do it, this is how you can be done it in Buddha's way, in your own society, in your own classroom. We highlighted why Buddha didn't beat his audience or fellows, and like why is that, and what are the things, and if you really think of yourself as the true fellows of Buddha, why are you beating the children? After that, they realize that, oh, yeah, we are doing it without realizing that we are against Buddha's way. We don't need to tell them that don't beat the children, but instead they started to realize by themselves, oh, yeah, we are doing this in the wrong way or in the right way, or we should be doing this and that. So one of our strategy was to be more experiential, um, that is relevant to their life as well. So to conclude what to my answer, the first thing is to know who we are working with. The second is to know the society and the situation that they are in and their backgrounds and what's going on. And the third is to use the approach and strategy that is relevant to their beliefs and to their life as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, there is no not one size fit all, as you say, and I believe that whatever you are cooking is very delicious. Dexter, Dexter, where are you? Yeah, I also look at the Facebook Live here, and there are some questions. So is this okay, Dexter, if I will be asking Ted to answer some questions from the from Facebook?
Absolutely, that's what I was actually going to bring up. Yeah, please do.
No, I think that's your
I feel I feel I
I
feel
think
so
that's
important that I've been asked a lot of questions.
yeah, Dexter, please go ahead. Yeah, I leave this to you now.
Sure. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Tess and Opor for your sharing. I mean, it's incredibly inspiring to hear about not only the challenges that you've faced in rolling out um, effective education for Buddhist women, but also like the incredible successes that you've had and the real sea change in confidence and self esteem that you've been able to effect. I think that's really really beautiful. So we have a question here on Facebook from Lily Baldwin, who says that it's a question for actually, um, what kinds of activities are you doing with women that you think have had the greatest impact, and what are some of the biggest challenges you've faced? So maybe I will ask Opor to respond to that first, because Tess just had a marvelous response to a question, and I know that a lot of the work that you've been doing, Opor, is related to things that Tess have done, but even on a wider scale because of the Female Sangha Initiative. So perhaps you could explain some of those things. But yeah, so the question was basically, what kinds of activities are you doing with women that you think have had the greatest impact, and what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced?
Huh. Thank you for the questions. And so I would say this at the INEB nature, we are connecting people. So INEB itself is stand for International Network of Engaged Buddhists, and having a platform where women can share and we feel safe. And I think this is this is the first female Sangha initiative project. It's a pilot project that we want to assess that what we need, what does a woman need, or what kind of the gap that we can help contribute and bring it closer. So throughout this, we last year we opened the we have the small grant, uh, and we asked the nunnery women-led organizations and a group of people to send in their applications. So with the support from the committees, we select 9 projects, and then we support them by the accommodating them. And yeah, I think most of the work successfully have done by the women themselves individually and a group of women. So I cannot say what is the greatest impact, because there is no measurement what's great and what not, and what big and small. But I believe that having this conversation is already an impact that we are making right now. And this year we are going to continue to empower women, and we would like to see that we would like to strengthen the women, the female Sangha here, like so yeah, we want to make a bigger impact, expand it, not just in Southeast Asia. We want to reach out to all the sister brothers who are out there, and and have the same ideas that want to bring about gender equality. So yeah, easy questions, but really complicated answer. So yeah, and I get And another challenge that so the challenge itself is of course that we from what last year is speaking from my personal aspect first is me is like how do I work around this system when the man is dominating this, and I was carrying that in the few months, but then not all men and not all men that suppressing us. Actually, there's men, women, and others, other LGBTQI friends that supporting this. So, and especially when Ajahn Sulak mentioned about this, I saw in one of his interview, he said that all men and women have ability and capacity to be enlightened. The very challenges thing to work here, I think, is a system. People often say that we cannot change the system, but I believe we can change the system because we are the human that we create the system. So as we move together in solidarity, I believe we can change the system. And if we can create the new culture and the system accommodate all men, women, and other genders, so perhaps we wouldn't be having this conversation, and we wouldn't have to plan the workshop to educate and to advocate for this. So yeah, I would say in summary, I would say that the most challenges and the most difficult thing is the system, but we can change. Yeah.
That's such a great response. I think, Opor, it not only does the system affect individuals, but it affects like the opportunities that they also have for doing things that would break the system, because like all the momentum is going the wrong direction, which makes trainings and the type of work that INEB has been facilitating through the Female Sangha Initiative and the Saya Foundation have been like really putting into practice through the educational programs, all the more important that it's a direct counter energy to those structural and systemic forces that are not encouraging for that type of empowerment. So thank you so much. I really appreciated that those insights, and I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, Tess, on the same question. I can repeat it just so that we have it with utmost clarity. It's basically what kinds of activities are you doing with women that you think have had the greatest impact, and what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced? I'm sure that, especially within the Myanmar context, there's some significant challenges that others may not be facing. So yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, Dexter and Upor. I also have very similar thoughts when it comes to challenges to Upor. I think the structural and the system is also very deeply rooted in our society, which is very, very difficult to change, right? And but the thing is, like whether the project donors or the people who were implementing or people who were part of the project want to see the change immediately or like as soon as possible, which is not possible. Which is not possible. So dealing with these structural violence and all these cultural problems, I think it takes time, and we really need to accept that. Not being able to accept that and willing to see the result very soon is also the challenge that we have to overcome as well. We need to know the reality of the issue that we are dealing with. And the other challenge that we also find is the sustainability of the activities. For example, the small organization like Saya Foundation, we need a continuous support from donors and people, and we really need to have these self-sustaining activities so that we can continue, and we just don't need to rely on donors all the time. So sustainability, and it relates to the first point as like it takes time to make change or like to create impact in the society. So one, the impact need to be impact, all these impactful activities will need to be implemented for a longer period, but then the funding or all these other aspects can only be for a short term and is not okay. So I think the sustainability, the structural change, and the cultural things are also challenging. And the other really, really difficult thing that I have faced during the project is the helping the nuns to overcome their own biases, which I say, of course, couldn't change much, but then like that just only help them realize or aware about our situation. For example, when it comes to like becoming monks or nuns, even though now they start to think like, oh, okay, even nuns can create impact in the society, and I don't need to be a monk, or I don't need to feel like I want to be a monk to make more impact, that I can just do it. But then like after the training, when they go back to their own society, like a lot more people think in a different way. They also start to feel like they need to think in that way as well. And also they start to feel like, oh yeah, we are less important because people don't really value us, etc. So helping the people or nuns to overcome their own biases are very, very challenging as well, because they have been traumatized. They have been having this bias for so many years throughout their life. So it's very difficult. Some of the to answer the second question, some of the activities that we have done that we think are impactful to some of those challenges are creating a safe space for the women. So we are now working with right now, last year we worked with the 16 nuns, and like they feel like it's a safe space for them to just share whatever they want to share, or like to just exchange ideas, to motivate each other. And it's a space that is really important for them. It's a group of people that they can rely on, they can depend on, they can open up, and all these things. So creating a safe space is very important. And also to empower both women and other gender people in the society are also very impactful, I have to say. So whenever we talk about women empowerment or gender equality, some of the people think that we need to empower only women. No, I disagree with that. We need to empower women, yes, but we need to empower other genders and people in the society in general as well, so that one woman's rise, they also rise with us. They won't drag down because they are not really aware of the issues or these things. So we need to empower both women and other genders in the society as well. The third activities or the idea that I think is impactful is having a approach of experiential learning approach, and using experiential wisdom to understand each other, to learn more about different genders, or to learn more about other women's situation. So these experiential learning practices really help the people to realize or to reflect on their own situation, learn from their experiences, and then that will sustain. I really believe in experiential learning, because that is really effective, and that will help the people to learn more effectively. So using experiential learning strategies into our programs really help. And the last thing that I wanted to share is the use of dialogue in women empowerment programs or in the empowerment programs in general. In Saya's Female Sangha initiative, we included a module on dialogue strategies. And after we have talked about different theories or like experience the dialogue internally, we also invited another female religious leader from Islamic group. Then they had a dialogue, and like they started to talk about a lot of things that women go through in different religions and in their own religions, and they started to empathize each other more and understand each other more. So dialogue really helps them to open up their eyes, their heart, and even it also helped them to do more things that is less harmful to the society. So yeah, these are some of the things that I found. And since we could create safe space and empower them even in a short time, we could see the confidence level of the nuns that we have worked with has increased. The confidence level has increased, and also there is a strong support system that we have, and where they can talk about anything, or where the nuns would support to one another when they are in need. Yeah, I think I'm giving you a very long answer.
That is
You guys
absolutely
like
amazing.
pause
I'm
me?
very inspired by that response test. Really, I am, like all the things you covered there. I mean, I think definitely threads that could continue to be pulled through the conversation. But what you were just saying about the importance of experiential learning, and in fact, in my experience of understanding and learning about Buddhism, it's all been through experience. Like the philosophy and all those things don't make much sense without an experience. And to be able, like, I'm sure that's quite appealing and understandable to Buddhist nuns who are deep in that practice as well. And then the use of dialogue as a key to empowerment is something that the educator like Paulo Freire would have absolutely loved to hear you say, because it's the development of critical thinking that is so important for self-confidence and self-esteem. So it's beautiful to hear that you've been integrating all of these practices and really an incredible breadth of content into the curriculums that you've been designing. It's really incredible. And I think actually this the next question that we have from Facebook ties into this topic of experiential learning in a very vivid way, especially currently. So Amahan Abueva, I hope I pronounced your name right, asked very simply, how are the women and nuns in Myanmar affected by the coup and the reign of the military junta? That's major experiential factor happening now, and I'm sure you have your own insights into that. So yeah, we're curious to hear what your thoughts are on that.
Okay. First of all, I just wanted to say it's not just women, it's everyone in Myanmar that has been impacted by the military coup. Yeah, so when you say in what way, I have to say, in many ways, it's physically, emotionally, mentally, socially, spiritually, everything from every aspect is painful. I am lucky that physically I am stay safe. But like, mentally, I'm quite broke down, inside, seeing other women, children, men, young people, all these people suffering from these armed conflicts, and from like people who have been put behind the bars, and like being arrested for just simply doing the great things for the community and society. And just recently, the some of the teachers have been arrested in my hometown, just simply because they have been teaching the children in the community Do you even think that makes sense to you, Dexter? No, for it doesn't make sense, right? So everyone, children, starting from children to old people, regardless of gender, are suffering in Myanmar because of the military coup.
Yeah, thanks for that response. I mean, it's very clear that it is certainly affecting every dimension of life, and so I'm not surprised to hear that from you. But despite the that immense challenge, I believe that this project that was funded by the Female Sangha Initiative took place inside of that context, and of course it's continuing to evolve. But regardless of the immense amount of pressure, like you said, on all these factors, you're still able to produce and empower women in a time that it's so important. So yeah, thank you for that work. It's really a beautiful thing. And yeah, and I want to also, if anybody else in the Clubhouse has any questions for Tess or Opor, please, you can raise your hand and ask them, as well as on the Facebook stream. But yeah, Opor, do you have any thoughts about that?
Maybe not related to the question was just asked. This is my questions to the system and the society. I just want to throw out there. I know it's a big question. I learned that the system here right now, at least for in Thailand, that I know that they in this Buddhist practice, they do not accept the bhikkhuni. That's why we call an ordained woman a nun. But in the history, the Buddha's Lord say that all men and women are equal, and regardless of gender, everyone can be enlightened. I don't know when will with or from who support, or then we will be practicing the Buddhist teaching in the right way, not using this system to oppress the woman, especially the nun, the bhikkhuni. This is big questions, but this is just my my questions. So yeah.
Are you asking to me, Opor?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe you can maybe you can share from from all the hand-on experience that you had
Yeah.
with the nun, and why do they want to be a monk? Yeah.
Like I said before, the nuns really think that they wanted to be a monk just simply because they want to be more recognized. They want their voice to be heard better and even louder. And I think deep down as well, there is also a very, very, very deep belief that they also believe that the men are better than women, and because there is a belief, right? Only men can be Buddha or Jesus or Allah or whoever. So with that belief, it deep down in the society, in the system, it's already there. I think there is this religion-based gender violence is there, and then it will take time to it would take time to sort it out, or even remove our own bias as women or as the nuns. And yesterday in my conversation with the nuns in Myanmar, it's very it's very difficult for them to speak about bhikkhunis and nuns, even because they think they can never be bhikkhunis because of the disciplines that they can't follow. And many of the nuns in Myanmar find it okay, it's okay not to be bhikkhuni, and I just do in my own ways. And because they have learned that opposing to our system or opposing to our culture will bring them threats, so that also prevent them from opening up their heart and their belief as well. So if I have to say, it's a very difficult question to answer.
thank you for trying to answer it. Yeah, but it's making the attempt to tackle these difficult to understand and to verbalize things that I think help everyone come to new understandings. Everyone listening, and all the people that will be listening to this after the fact.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for taking a stab.
Personally, I was just reading to a comment of a very famous monk on this matter as well. They say, in terms of Dhamma practice, right? In terms of Dhamma practice, everyone can be enlightened, but only men can be Buddha. That's the expression. But deep down in my heart, I feel like why women cannot be Buddhas. You never know, and you never know if women cannot be Buddhas, maybe because of these family responsibilities and all these things dragging down them. Maybe if we can build a society that will be treating the women fairly and in justice and squarely, then maybe there is a chance for women to practice Dharma as much as men, and also commit themselves into Dhamma as much as men, and like become like women Buddhas. Who knows? That's a thinking that I have. But then like things that even if I speak out like this in Myanmar society, I'll be attacked by so many people.
Yeah, well, thank you for speaking out like that. It's important, and I have very limited awareness of all of this context of the culture and the long tradition that has led to that kind of thinking. So I really appreciate your your courage in saying something like that. And in fact, I think this ties in well to a kind of combined question, which I think may actually be one of the last questions that we answer, as we've gone about an hour. And I think that this is quite a positive note that we can end on in terms of building a kind of solidarity with the women of Myanmar. So Reverend Karen Harrison has been providing some really interesting information in the Facebook chat about Canadian engaged Buddhist women, if you're interested about learning more about that. But she actually asks, how can Buddhist women continue to remove power from the junta while some of the male monks are appeasing the junta? But Amihan Bueva has also, their question works well with this as well, and is what do you suggest to those who want to express their solidarity for the people of Myanmar, and especially the women and children, to be able to lend support and be of use from afar, and be able to express our concern and our solidarity for the struggle. I'm wondering what your thoughts are, Tess.
Can you please rephrase the question again?
Yes, yeah, no worries. It was a little bit long-winded. I think in a more clear sense, it's what do you think are good ways that we as listeners, and most likely people not inside of Myanmar at the moment, how can we support Buddhist women, and also in fact support women and children in Myanmar in terms of solidarity with their struggle, and helping to express our concern and our compassion for them? Are there any ways that you think that we can do that?
I think there are many channels that we can do in terms of showing solidarity with the women and children in Myanmar. It's depending on what we can do and what we are really interested in. For example, if you are really into education and educating children, of course you can support the children in Myanmar, or through the education organizations or people that stuff like that. So in terms of financially, in terms of morally, or in terms of just like virtually, just like posting things like that for the people, it's also great. Or even like if you are, even if you are Buddhist or Christian or wherever, like in your own way, in your religious practice, just think about us, send us metta, send us your compassion, send us your prayers. That would also work as well. If so, depending on what you can do and what you can do, it would depend on what you can do, right? So if you can support financially, please support the people in Myanmar financially. If you can just post something to raise awareness of the people from around the world about the issues of Myanmar, please do that. Or if you want to just share your mitta, please do that as well. So there are so many ways that you can do, and there are so many possibilities. And if you need help with that, I can also support in reaching out to the right people in Myanmar as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think that all those are really, really good points, and I hope that everyone listening to this is able to, take some sort of an insight from that in terms of what actionable steps you can do. Even sharing information about what's happening, like sharing this talk after the fact with people that you think might be interested, is a great way to spread awareness. And so I know that I said that was going to be the last question, but I think a more expansive one in terms of the fact that what you are doing, Tess, with Saya Foundation, and what the Female Sangha Initiative has done and is going to do in the future. I think maybe if you could each say a little bit about what is planned for the future, and future activities of providing either new forms of support for women's projects or educational programs. I think to give the listeners a kind of idea that this is very much a living project and a living cause and activity. So I think injecting a little bit of that future look is a good way to wind us up.
Thanks, Dexter. As part of Sarah Foundation, we're working on so many things because we believe that we must do as citizens of Myanmar or people in education. We really need to do so many things, right? And like the theme from this International Women's Day, education to break bias. So as part of Sarah Foundation, we will keep breaking the bias in the society and in our community, so that women are treated equally through their programs for the women empowerment. So in the future, we are planning to continue working with the women from Buddhist community, Christian community, Islamic communities, and from various religious community as well. So we want to have more female religious leaders empowerment programs where women can create safe space, create support system on their own, so that we can keep breaking the bias and and creating an impactful, equal society. That's part of it. And the second thing is I want to highlight more of the great work of women in Myanmar and in around the world, because one of the reason why their voices are not heard is also because maybe there are not so many people who are trying to ask them question or trying to show their work, amazing work, to the public. So I want to be an agent of change, an agent to share their wonderful stories to the world and the people of Myanmar. So I want to highlight the good work of our nuns and the women in Myanmar. And as we have been supporting the children and teachers in the community, so I will keep working on the community education programs. And we are currently also working on designing the faith-based school teachers fellowship program. So we are also developing training manuals and materials for the children and the teachers in the faith-based schools. So yeah, so many things that we are working on.
Amazing. Yes, so many incredible things. Definitely watch the space and stay up to date with the Saya Foundation. Go like them on Facebook. And yeah, stay up to date. There's a lot going to be happening, and I'm sure we will be including much more information about your activities and work in the future. But Opor, maybe you could also give a little vision of what's planned for the Female Sangha initiative.
Yeah, this is like the strategy plan. We want to reach the goal, which I always think that is like the North Star where it's guiding us. So we want to empower Buddhist women so that for Buddhist communities are equally capable of fully engaging with social issues locally and globally with the value guided by Buddha's Dharma. So to be able to do that, we have to continue working on building together the female Sangha, regardless of the belief or the religions that Ted have mentioned. And I like to quote her from Ted that she say, when women rise, when women empower other women, we rise together. So yeah, to keep doing that and also to improve the Buddhist women educations, and especially this year, we have supported from the organizations from the US AID through the FHI to continue advocate for the female Sangha. So with that case, we INEB is working on bringing together and trying to empower the female Sangha through this through our advocacy work. And so yeah, there's many more to do, but for now, just give you this, and perhaps maybe we have like the second Clubhouse talk. We can see where it's going, which direction is we are heading. So yeah, what we need to do is just continue to voice out, continue to amplify the great work that have done by women, by nuns, by men that support women equality, and also by others gender that working to contribute to this great work of equalities. Yeah, happy International Women's Days. So before I hand it over to you, Dexter, I like to quote this from this year campaign, Break the Bias. It's really short. It's mentioned that a world free of bias, stereotype, and discriminations, a world that is diverse, equitable, and inclusive, a world where difference is valued and celebrated. Together we can forge women equalities. Collectively, we can all break the bias. So that's from me.
What an amazing quote to wrap it up on. Thank you for sharing that, Opor, and thank both of you for immensely for taking the time to share the work that you've been doing with larger audience, and being able to so clearly highlight not only the great successes that you've had, but the challenges that are still present. So I really appreciate the time that we've been able to spend together. It's already an hour and 15 minutes. It was like flew by in a flash. And I'd also like to thank everyone who attended. We had a consistent number of people on our Facebook stream and some consistent listeners on Clubhouse. So thank you very much. And please stay tuned. Follow Digital Bodhisattva on Clubhouse. And if you enjoyed the talk, make sure to share it with your friends and your community, so we can help continue to spread the word about these important issues. As Opor said at the beginning, every day should be International Women's Day, and just because we are having a special event on this day does not mean that this work isn't continuing and that it doesn't remain important. So INEB is deeply engaged in this topic, and we have been actually since our founding in 1989. So I thank you once again for attending, and yeah, I appreciate appreciate all of your presence. Thank you.
Thank you, Dexter, for
Desmond.
hosting us. Thank
Edgar.
you, Ted and A. And thank you for those friends on Facebook. Bye. Until next time.
Bye.
Keep up the
Okay.
great work, Ted.